right? Let them speak, let them fill in the void. Or what are we trying to accomplish here? It's a great question. What are we trying to accomplish here? Hey guys, welcome back. This is Daryl. I want to run through some high-level negotiating tactics that I've used and continue to use. We've all read the books. There's plenty of books on negotiating, but I like to condense everything into actionable insights. So when I read books, I highlight things, I take notes, and I try to condense it to a single page. Hey, these are the top items to focus on, and Never Split the Difference is a fantastic book. I recommend everybody read it. The author did a fantastic job on that. I'll post that book here shortly too, so just so you can see what it looks like. But I recommend giving it a read. But in that book, I took notes. I just want to show you guys, like, this is, I rewrite these every 3 to 4 months, just so I can kind of put them in memory. But that's all my notes on negotiating. So I try to condense it down, and I just want to run through my notes today. So the first thing I do at any given time when I'm negotiating is set a target price. All right. So if your target price, right, or your max allowable offer, you might hear people say MAO, or top dollar you'll spend, right? Whatever that is, you're going to take 65% of that, right? And that is your target price. Okay. So if it's $100,000, right, you're going to start off at $65,000. That is where you're going to start, right? The second phase is to raise it at least 3 times, right? So you want to go up to 85%, 95%, and then 100%. So for example, right, you would start at 65, go up to 85,000, then 95,000, and then 100% of your offer as a final, the final offer, right? So, and that is of your offer. So let me back up. 65% of your top offer. So if 100,000 is your top offer, that's the highest you're willing to go. You're going to start off at 65%. You're going to go to 85%, 95%, and then 100% of your top offer. Right. So that's the second one. So number one, set target price to 65% of your top offer. Number 2, 3 raises incremental from 85%, 95% to 100% of your top offer. Right. How do you get your top offer? We'll do another video on that. But you want to make sure that you have enough wiggle room, enough meat on the bone, however you want to phrase it. I always like to say just enough meat on the bone, right? To actually make money. Number 3, though, use empathy in different ways of saying no to get counteroffers, right? You want them to say no, and you actually want them to give you a counteroffer. All right. In negotiation, you want them to give you as many offers as possible, right? The better you can get it, having them say no to your offer and giving you a counteroffer, the easier it is to negotiate. Right? You don't want a stone wall that you can't talk to. You want them to be able to speak back and to give you that counteroffer. So using empathy, right? You truly have to realize their situation. I was telling a few folks the other day, the only thing that should matter when you go to a distressed property, right? Whether that's a divorce, a pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, a death in the family, whatever it is, right? These are all circumstances that none of us want to experience. None of us want to go through. They're very difficult times. So you have to show empathy and feel their emotion, feel their pain, and understand their pain, right? So I never go in trying to buy a house. You always go in trying to understand their circumstances, understand their situation, and then go from there, right? This is the situation. This is what led to the situation, and this is what we're going to do to solve the situation, right? And you need to be the agent, the real estate agent, the real estate professional, or the investor that's there to solve that problem. But first, get to know the problem. truly know and understand the problem. So empathy. So again, number one, set your target price. Number two, 3 raises. Number 3, using empathy and different ways of getting them to say no or get them to counteroffer, right? And number 4, use a precise final offer. Nothing beats a precise final offer, right? When a contractor gives you a bid that says $2,322.17, right? You trust that more than $2,300, right? When it's precise, it shows that they've done their research. It shows that they are truly at the top of their budget and they've run the numbers very closely, okay? Now, being able to explain it also matters. So when you do have that precise offer, you need to be able to say and be able to articulate, hey, I need to have at least $40,000 of meat on the bone, all right? And that $40,000 of meat on the bone, that's what got me to this exact dollar amount, this exact figure, right? Factoring in all selling costs, commissions, closing costs, my holding cost, anything that you might want to articulate to them. You don't have to give them all the details, but it's always really important to be fully transparent. So 4, use a precise final offer. So instead of $100,000, even though that might be your max allowable offer, you might say, hey, my offer's $100,022.14, okay? Do the math and make it exact. So if you want to sell the house for $200,000, right? Take out your 8% for closing costs and commissions, get a closing cost estimate from a title company, and then work your way backwards to get to a precise final offer. Number 5, all right? Throw in a non-monetary item at the end to show they squeezed you, right? This can be, hey, you know what? I can't offer any more money, but why don't I come help you move for half a day, right? Or, hey, why don't I provide you all the boxes you need to pack up, right? Anything that's maybe non-monetary and more of a service that you can provide, or hey, maybe I can let you live in the house for 2 days after closing. Be cautious with that, but use a non-monetary item at the end to show that they really got you, okay? They really squeezed you. Because it's so true, right? If you don't use these tactics and techniques and you get the emotional roll and you have that roller coaster and you're like, wow, okay, I'm gonna go up to 150. Like, I think I can make it happen, right? The next thing you know, you lose money. So you're not just showing them that they squeezed you, but you're also protecting yourself, okay? So use that non-monetary item at the end to show they squeezed you. So again, going through my top 5, or my negotiating in 5 steps. Number 1, set target price to 65% of the top offer. 3 raises to 85%, 95%, and 100% of your offer. Use empathy and different words or phrases to get them to say no. Right, use a precise final offer, and then throw in a non-monetary item at the end to show they squeezed you. Now, just a few quick tips, right? So that's my negotiating strategy and techniques. Not mine, right? I've read the book, Never Split the Difference. Few other books I can't quite think of right now, but these notes all come from those books, and it's just a real quick, concise gist of those books. Now, again, quick tips, right? Use what and how questions, right? And avoid why questions, right? So some examples might be, how am I supposed to accept that? If they say, hey, I need $200,000, you ask, how am I supposed to accept that? And just silent, right? Let them speak, let them fill in the void. Or what are we trying to accomplish here? It's a great question. What are we trying to accomplish here? And just something to keep in the back of your mind, right? What do they want to gain? And what do they fear losing? There's a lot of fear, right? Think about the distress some of these people are in. Like, there's a lot of fear. So you need to remember, what do they want to gain, and what do they fear losing? Is it losing security? Is it losing their home? Is it losing, they just lost someone in their family, right? Is it fear of starting the next chapter after a divorce? There's so many things. But keep that in the back of your mind. And then the rest of my notes are just kind of random, but let's go ahead and go through them. I love this. Don't judge ideas, generate them, okay? Pursuing dreams and passions makes you more resilient. I like that one too. I love it. You're more resilient when you're doing something you love. Hence why I'm pursuing real estate full time. I think I'll be way more resilient to the ups and the downs and whatever happens. And then how are you being proactive about problems and perception? So be proactive about problems, solve them quickly, swiftly, and perception. So be proactive about your perception, okay, of the world around you, of the ideas that you listen to and hear, about the news that you receive, just about anything in life. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like and subscribe. That is how I can, obviously continue to grow. I'll continue to put out this content because I love doing it, and I will be resilient in that. So yeah, negotiating 101. Thanks, guys.